3 weeks back I was in Indore, small place in, not a small place actually, a very large city in MP, and I was there with some friends and we were having dinner in a very nice place. Indore is a part of a region called Malwa, or used to be called Malwa. It's in the state of Madhya Pradesh, and Malwa has its own peculiar dialect of Hindi, a particular style of Hindi. If those of you who have travelled in the north would immediately identify. But these were friends from school days and they are very informal with me. They've known me for 30 years. So we were talking about all these things and they said in Hindi कि यार इससे हमको क्या लेना देना? ऐसे तुम कर रहे हो मेरे को क्या लेना देना? Because inflation is there, it's fine, everyone is affected. Corruption तो हर जगह है. इंग्लैंड में भी corruption है. वो लक्ष्मी मित्तल को उन्होंने पैसा दे दिया था. तुम क्या बात कर रहे हो? So बोलते इससे मारो क्या लेना देना? They said, I do my job. Most of them are in business. They say, I do my job. I come home. I have a nice car. My kids go in a good school. So why are you bothering me with this? So I told them we are all sitting in this fantastic, very nice restaurant in an upscale 5-star hotel in Indore. Very nice restaurant. And I asked them, do you know what are the permissions required to open a restaurant? Does anyone know, by the way? What are the steps required to go through to open a restaurant? A lot of steps, you can guess. There's a very well-known business guy called Sanjeev Kohli. Sanjeev Kohli is the owner of Great Indian Restaurant Company, which is the master franchise in India for KFC and Pizza Hut. Okay, so Sanjeev Kohli has the master franchise. And what I'm going to share with you is the process that Sanjeev Kohli had to follow, or the steps that he had to go through before opening his first restaurant. Now this is not from 10-20 years ago, okay? This is not the license permit right there. This is actually from 2009, barely 2.5 years ago. So the process is this. First you get a no objection certificate, fair enough. You're opening a restaurant, you have to have fire department clearance. Then you have a health license, which is also understandable. People shouldn't fall sick when they come into a restaurant. Then the fun begins. Okay, the fun begins because you're going to have 3 different police clearances. Now the police department, there are not 3 different police departments. There's only one police department. But you need to have 3 different clearances, which will all be given by different people. And one from the police station in the area, one from where the manager lives. Don't ask me why. And then one from the licensing department. So as I said, they're all different people. So you thought, okay, that's enough. No, it's not done yet. It's barely started. Okay, it's barely started. So next you apply for a tourism and excise, and the excise is issued only after approval from tourism. So now you have a sequencing problem. You can't start everything at once. Now you have to go step by step. You can't even do it in parallel. Then the inspectors will check out the premise and post a notice, fair enough. But this is accompanied by beating of drums. So who made these laws? Beating of drums for what? That you're opening a restaurant where drink will be served, so let everyone be aware there may be a threat to you, your wives, your daughters, what? What's the point of this? It's of course colonial era laws, okay? They survived just as that. This is from 2009, and again, if you want, I'll give you a link to this. This is what he went through. Now, if all this was not bad enough, you thought this is pretty bad as it is, right? But the worst is yet to come. The process can only begin when the restaurant is ready to open. This is a joke, right? Unfortunately, it's not a joke, this is the truth. And I shared this with my friends in Indore. I said, this is the process to open something where you are sitting right now, eating and having fun, and enjoying your drink. And talking of drink, how many of you know of the Prohibition Act and the Mumbai Permit Act? You know about that, right? You know how to apply in Mumbai if you drink, if you want to drink rather, if you want to drink in Mumbai, you have to apply for a permit. Okay, well, you have to be first of all more than 25. So if you're just passed out from IIM, you can forget about it. Then you have to go to your doctor and the doctor has to certify that you need liquor for the preservation of your health. So this must be a joke, right? And then of course when you apply for a permit, etc., then you get 1 year's permit for 100 rupees, lifetime for 1000 rupees. Bloody joke. Now of course, if you really do apply for a permit, remind me to tell you later what happens if you are stupid enough to show your permit. Just remind me to tell you what happens.
Probably the guy who wrote it was under the influence.
What is that?
Probably the guy who wrote it, who drafted this, was under the influence because he doesn't see.
Yeah, but by the way, this is again not colonial. This was an act drafted in 1973. So this is, I was born before that, so this is not something that the British left for us. You're right. Anyway, remind me, as I said, to tell you what happens if you're stupid enough to apply and show a permit. Of course, no one does. But remind me to tell you what happens if you are really stupid, you apply and you actually show a permit when you order a drink. I will tell you what happens later on, okay? So I told them this is what happens. And if you're still, oh by the way, you have a fine if you drink without a permit, and that's 50,000 rupees or 5 years in jail. 5 years, okay, 5 years. Now remember that the maximum sentence, jail sentence for death due to rash driving in India is 2 years. But for drinking without a permit is 5 years. So if you kill people, and there's a very famous case in Delhi, I'm not going to name names, in the last few days again it was in the news, the maximum sentence is 2 years. But here, of course, you can end up for 5 years. So this is, you know, these are things which I think by now I've convinced you that behind every single image and every single statistic I've shared with you is politics. At the heart of it is politics. Every single thing I've shown you. And we can discuss this if you are not convinced. But every single statistic, whether it's 40% of girls dropping out, whether it's the 1,76,000 crore scam, whether it is the stupid laws, at the heart of everything is politics. Whether it's those 25 crore pati MPs or MLAs who don't have PAN numbers. And that's why politics matters. So the question is, what can you do about this?